we have discussed about lighting component, and we have discussed what exactly the lighting component and what it indicates. How can we create lighting components in RF framework, and what are the various resources that we can use upon building lighting component, and what are the various files that we have in lighting component bundle, and what exactly the significance of each and every resource we have discussed in the previous session. And then we have discussed about the practical use cases, how to create a lighting component, how to see the existing lighting components we have discussed. And once the component has been built, then how can we place this component inside my Salesforce R in the record detail page we have discussed. Now, have you tried with this all these features? Done? Not yet done. Why? Okay. So you are getting this notes right? Okay. Now, so better to do the practice on daily basis. Don't make the things pending. Now, so let's see few more practical use cases in today's session. Now, for example, let's come to a small scenario. For example, I want to build two lighting components. Okay, I want to build two lighting components over here. This is the component one. This is the first component over here, and this is the second component. I want to build these two components over here. Now, I want to build two components. Excuse me. This is the component one, and this is the component two. I want to develop two independent components over here, component one and the component two. Now, this component name I'm giving as patient details component here, lighting component, patient details component. This is the component name. In this component, I want to represent the patient basic details. Represent the patient details. The patient who is visiting our hospital, I would like to represent the patient details in this component one. Next, second component here, component two. For this component, I want to give the name lighting component underscore appointment details component. Appointment details component. In this component, I would like to place the appointment details of the component. Represent. I want to represent the appointment details of the component. These are the two components I want to build. Clear up to this one? I want to develop two lighting components here. Both are ARA components only. Lighting components, ARA components, both are same. Right now we are discussing ARA components over here. Okay, for the first 10 days, we'll be spending the time on ARA components. Once it is ARA framework is done, then we'll enter into lighting web component framework. Now, so now here in this case, these are the two components I would like to build. I want to prepare patient details component, second one appointment details component. Once two components has been built, I want to access both the components within a single component itself. Or else I want to build an application here. This is application. This is my lighting application. I want to build a lighting application. Now, patient details application. This is the lighting application I would like to prepare. In this lighting application, I want to call both the components. This component also I would like to call. This component also I would like to call. So now, how to reference or how to call two components into a single application? Now, let's see. Understand the concept here? I want to prepare two separate lighting components here. The first component is the basic patient details component, which contains the patient basic details like the patient code, patient name, age, gender, and the visiting date, contact number, email ID. These are all other basic details. Second one, appointment details. Now, this patient has visited the hospital to consult a doctor so that he fixed the appointment here. I want to show the appointment details in the second component, like the patient code for which patient this appointment has been associated, and the doctor name with which doctor, date and time also, and the appointment ID also over here, appointment status also here. All these details I would like to place in the appointment details component. So now both the components I would like to call inside a single application here. Then how to call multiple components in an application? Okay, we'll see. Okay, understood the concept over here? Now in this case, I would like to place both the components over here. Now this component also I would like to access. I want to place this component over here, and I want to place this component over here. I would like to place side by side. Here patient basic details, here patient appointment details over here. Side by side, I would like to represent. So that here I want to use the two divisions. Okay, I want to use the two divisions over here. By using the divisions, I would like to represent this content over here. Clear? Understood the concept now? Next. Then how can we prepare these two components and then how to create an application? Now let's see. Now tell me what it should be done. Could you give me the step-by-step approach what it should be done for this? Okay. First of all, as a step one, create the component one with the required content. Done. Next. Step two, create the second component over here with the required details. Then as a step three, create a lightning application. In that application, call both the components over here. That's a simple concept. Clear? Understood the concept now? This is how we are going to implement all the features in the real time from now onwards. We need to build the component and then we can able to test it and then we need to place into your Salesforce or wherever you want. Okay? Next. Now let's see. Make a note of this use case. Create two lightning components to represent the patient basic details and appointment details and reference both the components inside the application. And reference both the components inside the application. Done with this? Next. Now let's see how can we do that. So as a step one, I want to create the first component. Go to the developer console. I'm creating a new lightning component first. Lightning component. The component name is, I would like to create a component, patient basic details component. LC underscore patient basic details component. Click on submit button. Right. Okay, because I directly want to reference this component inside my application. So I'm not selecting any of the checkboxes here. Now, this is the patient basic details component. So now I would like to place the required content. Now here I'm using the help of the division tag. So now I would like to place the content here. I want to show the content in bold format and then underline, and I want to show the content in center format over here. Patient basic details form. Here I want to give a break tag. I want to represent the patient basic details. Now the patient record ID, I want to indicate PID hyphen 4500902. Patient name some Ramesh Kumar. Patient age is, I want to indicate some 32. And the gender, I'm giving as male. Contact number of the patient. Email address is now some Ramesh.kumar@some gmail.com. Location name is, that means city name, I would like to indicate some Hyderabad. This is the content here. I want to represent the basic details of this patient over here. Okay, this is the patient basic details I would like to represent. Now I'm representing the patient basic details form, patient record ID, patient name, and the age, and the gender, contact number, and the email ID, location. So now this is the first component here. I'm building the patient details. Now I want to apply some styles. Where we can apply the style now? Now in the style file, go to the style file, apply the style. Now here I'm indicating here patient style. I'm preparing a style class. Dot this it will be adding automatically. We are adding dot the class name. Now the width, I'm indicating 500 pixel. Border 1 pixel. Solid block or solid blue. I would like to specify the blue. add some maroon. Now I would like to indicate border radius, that will be 10 pixel. Margin top 50 pixel. Margin left 20 pixel. Now these are okay fixed properties in CSS. These are fixed. Right. Now how much width you want, that you can modify here. It depends upon your need. These properties are same, fixed. Okay. Now the padding top, that I'm indicating 10 pixel. Padding left 10 pixel. Padding right 10 pixel. Padding bottom 10 pixel. Okay, no need to write this code. I will share these complete notes over there. Okay, after the completion of the session, I will be sharing that notes also. You don't need to write because it's a lengthy code, right? It will take more time to write. Now, I'm applying this style over here. This is the style which we have prepared over here. I want to apply this style to my division tag. Division, what is the property here? Class property. Class equals to, we are indicating the class name because this is called as a CSS class name. In Apex programming, we know how to prepare the class. This is CSS class name. Okay, this dot class name. This refers to the current class. In this particular file, this is the current class name. It will collect this class properties. These styles will be applicable for my division over here. So now we need to indicate the class name. Okay, this is the first component over here. So we have prepared the component one, which is having the basic details of the patient over here, and then which will be having some style. Clear? Next. Second one, I would like to create one more component over here. I'm creating one more lighting component. I'm giving the component name as appointment details component. Okay, appointment details component. Now here I would like to represent the content. I'm using the div tag. Now here I'm using the bold tag, underline, center. I want to show appointment details. I'm giving the break tag. I want to indicate the patient ID. I would like to specify PID hyphen the same. I'm giving the same ID here. Now I'm indicating the doctor name. Now I'm indicating Dr. Satish Reddy. Now the consultation fee rupees 1200. Now appointment date, I'm indicating 23rd 04 2024. Appointment time, now it will be having it in the morning at 10 a.m. Now appointment status, is it confirmed or not? Yes, it's a confirmed. Now these are the details over here. Now I want to apply the same style here also. Whatever the style that we have applied here also I would like to apply. Go to the second component, appointment details. I'm going to the style file. Now we can able to apply that same patient style over here. Now this class name I'm passing to my division. Class equals to, we can specify that. These are the two components we have. Clear up to this one? Next. Now this is the component one, which is having basic details of the patient. This is the second component, which is having appointment details of the component. Now I want to call both the components inside a single application. Then how can we call? You know, already we have discussed. Upon accessing this component inside the application, we have to go to that application, use that notation C:. That means I'm working a component here. Which component? This is the component over here. So now let me create an application now because already we have an application also. Every time no need to create a separate application. Already we have prepared one application for testing purpose here. Use that same also, no problem. Go to the application file. I don't want to use this. I want to call that application components over here. How to call? C:. Now my component name. What is the component name here? First one, patient basic details component. LC underscore patient basic details component. No. Yes. Now, so I'm calling this the patient basic details component. This is the first component here, patient basic details component. Second one, I'm using C:, LC underscore appointment details component. appointment details component. So now here I'm indicating this here patient basic details component and then appointment details component. Both I'm referencing here within a single application. Now just you can able to call both the components here, not only one, multiple. But in this case, what will happen? It will show the first component details over here, and then immediately it will show second component details also. Let's see how it will look like. Click on preview. Now the first component details will be getting visible, and then second component details are getting visible here. Both are visible in this place. Now I want to show side by side here. For that one, just you can able to use table tag. I'm creating a table row. Inside the table row, I'm indicating table data. This is one column. This is another column here. In the first column, I'm going to be representing one component over here. In the second column, I'm going to be referencing one more component here. So I don't want this. Here, inside the table, I'm using the table data. I'm not giving any column headings because headings are already placed inside that components over here. Now update the preview. Now we can see both side by side over here. Depends upon the requirement, we can able to show both side by side. Previously, what happened, if I'm calling normally, it will show one by one over here, but I don't want to show one by one. I want to represent side by side. So in that case, we can able to use the help of this table. In the table, we can add a row. In that row, we can add two columns. In the first column, we are placing one component. Second column, we are placing second component here. Like when you go to the page layout, upon placing the fields in the page layout, we are adding how many columns you want to arrange the fields, right? Either one column or two columns over here. If you are placing two columns, first text box you can place in one column, second text box you can place in second column in that section. Like that similar fashion, here also we can use the help of tables. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now, this is the way we can able to reference multiple components inside an application. Okay, so not only referencing one component, we can able to reference multiple components also within a single application, okay, by using this functionality. We are taking the same style. Well, both are same, right? Both styles are same. But here I haven't given any height. If you're giving a height, it will be giving both will be same height. But I haven't given the height here. If I'm fixing the height, if you're storing more content, that will be exceeding the height of the content also. That's what here I'm not fixing the height. Depends upon the content you are going to place, it will be holding that same height over here. For example, let's see. If I'm fixing the height, observe what will happen. Now the patient basic details component here. If I'm giving height over here, some 100 pixel. Here also. Now let's see the application. Refresh this. See, in this case, what happened? Whatever the height that you have given, more than the height we are placing the content here. Because of that, here the height will be fixed. We have given the fixed height here. For that reason, I don't want to give the height over here, boss. Till whatever the content I'm placing, till then we can give the border over here. For that reason, here we are not giving any height. Clear? No. Which one? Hmm. Right. Because here we have prepared that. Instead of that, we can go to the application. In the application, we can prepare that style. We can call in for all the components also. Okay. Now here in this component, whatever the style that we have written, this style will be applicable only within the component only here. Okay. If you want to apply the same style for both the components, then prepare the style in application level. Go to the application file. In that one, in that application bundle, we have a style file, right? There we can mention the style. That style we can call for both the components. No. Okay. In that case, only this helper file we can access, not the style file, not the other components. Okay. Sorry. Now side by side by using tables only. Okay. And how many columns you want to arrange, that we can decide by using tables itself. Clear? Now I'm not applying the height. Let's refresh this one now. Now we can see the content. Till whatever the place we are having the content here, till that it will be applying the expanding the height also automatically by default. Clear? Now this is how we can prepare multiple components, and multiple components we can reference inside a single application. Now let me place the code. First component here, component code, style code. Second component, and then application file. If you know the steps, then it will be very easy to implement the features. Nothing different. I'm placing the complete content separately here. I'm clearly indicating this, which code is available in which component. I have placed this one. So first of all, we have to create the component one. In that one, there is a component code, and here is a style code. Then we are preparing second component here, component two. This is the component code. This is the style code, and then application. Let me place this application code. Clear? Now, next one. Take one more use case. Now this time, how to reference one component inside another component here. Okay, how to reference one component inside another component, we'll see. As of now, we have prepared two components separately over here. So now both the components we have referenced in a single application. Now this time, I want to implement like this. For example, I want to prepare a component. This is the component one. Component one. Now this component is going to be representing the employee details. Employee details. It will represent the basic details of the employee over here. Next. And then I want to prepare one more component here. One more component. This is the second component here. This is the component 2. Which represents address details. Address details. Now my requirement is what I want to do is whatever the component 2 that you have prepared, this component 2 I want to access inside component 1. Okay. So component 1 will be the parent, component 2 will be the child. Okay. Not independent, these two are I'm going to be indicating related over here. Now, so once both the components are ready, then I would like to prepare my own application. I want to prepare an application. Inside the application, I would like to call both the components over here. Now inside my application, I would like to call both the components. Inside my Lightning application, I would like to represent both the components here. This is my requirement. Previous approach is different. This approach is different over here. In the previous approach, two components are independent here. Okay, two components are independent. There, we are going to be referencing both the components inside the application. Now, inside one component, I'm using another component also in this case. Okay, now, so then how can we make one component as parent, second component as child? When moving forward, we are providing communication between the components here. How to pass the value from parent to child to parent over here. That is most important in Lightning framework. So we need to pass the value from parent to child, and then we can pass the value from child to parent also here. For that one, that is a 100% common question in every interview. What are the various communication mechanisms that we can implement between the two components over here? Then how the two components can communicate with each other, how to pass the value from parent to child, how to pass from child to parent here. Both the scenarios we'll see when moving forward. Okay? Now, clear up to this one? Next. Make a note of this use case. Create two Lightning components to store employee basic details and address details. Reference the address details component inside the basic details component and reference the parent component on the Lightning application. Yes, whatever the component that you are preparing, each and every component can be used in any other component also. All the components are usable. All right. No, no, not like that here. Because here, when you go to that object relationship, that is a fixed one. But here, components are independent components initially here. How to access that component in the second component, that is a different functionality. Okay. Now, there we can pass some values. Because in this case, whenever we are having some methods, generally, okay, we can pass the values to the method through parameters. Like that here also, we can create some parameters for the component, so we can able to pass the values. Those parameters are called as attributes. Okay, that is also called as attributes in Lightning framework. Here, now, let's see how can we create these components. Now let me create the first component. Employee details component. Now this is already used. Employee basic details component. Okay. Now, in that case here, whatever the component that you have prepared, these component names cannot be changeable over here. This cannot be renamed. Okay. Now, fixed one. Now, so now here I'm preparing a component here, which is having the name employee basic details component over here. Now I would like to show the content. I'm using the div tag. Everywhere upon preparing the real-time implementation, everywhere we are using division tags because we don't know what styles we are going to apply. That's what here we can place it as a division tag. If you want to apply styles or not, it's your choice here. If you want to apply the style for the group of content, then we can able to group them by using division. We can apply the style for the group of content also. That's what. Now, so now here in this case, let's see. When you go to your Salesforce R, these are all our divisions here. Let me show you. When you go to your application, these are all our divisions. This is one division. Now this entire thing is nothing but another division. In this one, we have up to this part is a separate division. This part is a separate division. And here they have given table format. Here is the first row, first column here. This is one division. This is second division. This is third division here. Like that here, they are going to placing the content in different divisions. These are all our divisions only here. So that here by using divisions only, we can able to adjust the content and we can represent the content in whatever the way that you want. Okay, this is the base concept here. That's what everywhere we are using divisions. Now here I'm representing the patient employee basic details here. I'm using the bold tag, underline, center, employee basic details. I'm giving the break tag. Employee code is I'm representing E-9009032. I'm giving the break tag. Employee name is I'm indicating some Santosh Kumar. Now the current employer, I'm giving the company name as some Infosys. Current designation, some technical lead. Current CTC, I'm representing the details. Contact number of the employee. Email address, santosh.kumar@gmail.com. Active status. Yes, that means active. Whether employee is currently working in this company or not to indicate that we are using this active status. Clear? This is the first basic details of that employee here, so that I'm preparing employee basic details component. Clear up to this one? Next. Second one. I would like to create one more lightning component here. Now I would like to indicate employee contact details here. Or simply we can say contact details component. Sorry? Address details. So now here I'm preparing a division. So now we can specify the bold format, underline, center, and the italic style. I would like to go with italic style here. Now employee address details. I'm giving a break tag. I would like to represent the employee code. I want to represent the employee details here. Now I would like to specify the employee name. Santosh Kumar. Street name is, so I want to indicate flat number Okay, 409. Now some Lodha apartments, some Banjara Hills, road number 12. I'm giving the details. Now, city name, some Hyderabad. State name is some Telangana. Country name is, I'm indicating some India. Postal code is, I would like to specify 500032. This is the content here. These are the two components that I have built. Okay, I have built these two components over here. The first component is going to be representing the employee basic details, and the second component is going to be representing the employee address information. So the communication details of the employee will be representing by second component over here. Clear? Now once both the components are available here, now I would like to call one component inside another component here. So now here in this case, what we can do, whatever the employee details component that we have reference, upon representing the employee details, I want to show the employee basic details first, then address details. I don't want to show the address details first. Now in this case, how can we reference? Once this employee details has been getting represented, then here we can able to give you a break tag. Here we can call the second component here. How to call? Let me show you. Call the second component. Then how can we show this comment I'm indicating here? In order to represent the comment over here, now we are using this format. Generally, when you go to the Apex programming, for the commenting, we are using 2 forward slashes. This is for single line comment. If you want to comment multiple lines, we can use forward slash and a star. And then here we can place multiple lines of content here. And here we can able to use a star and the slash. Now this is a single line comment to comment only one line. This is a multi-line comment to comment the multiple lines in programming languages. When you go to the markup languages like as HTML, DHTML, XML, it may be Visual Force, it may be Lightning Framework, it may be LWC framework also, ASP.NET also, any other markup languages, this is the syntax. It may be single line or multiple line, same format here. Now we can use less than symbol, an exclamation, 2 hyphens, and then place that content whatever you want to. Okay, comment here, we can able to place here multiple lines of content also. The same style we have to follow. Okay, for the commenting here, single line or multiple, same style. Okay, now here I would like to call. How to call this component? I'm using C colon. What is the component name? Contact details component. That means what? Inside this employee basic details component, I'm calling contact details component also. Let's save this. Now the component name is what? LC underscore. Now my component has been saved over here. Now call this parent component inside your application. Inside the application, I would like to call that. What is the parent component? C colon employee LC underscore employee basic details component. That's it. So whenever we are referencing this parent component will be getting executed. It will show the content, and then it internally will be calling the second component also, that is content details. Like as when you go to that conditional statements, in one if condition we are writing another if condition. In one for loop we can write another for loop. In one method we can call another method. Like that, in one component we can call another component. Okay. So now in this case, let's run the application now. Now it will be running this application. It will be representing both the content also here. Basic details content also will be getting visible, and then employee address details also will be getting visible over here automatically by default. Clear? Understood the concept now? How can we call one component from another component? How to call multiple component inside an application? All these things we have discussed. Okay. Let me place this component to 1, component to 2, application. This is the parent component. This is the child component. I'm giving the indications to you for your easy understanding by looking into the notes. Understood the concept over here? No. The next one, Lightning input components. What about the? No, we haven't applied the style. If you want, we can apply the style also. In the style file, we can apply. No. If you want to apply the style in each and every component, we have to go to the style file, prepare the style, apply to the div tag. Okay. Hmm. Right. No, no. In this case here, both the components will be having the two separate component bundles. In each component bundle, we have style file. So for each component, what style you want to apply, that we can decide. We can apply here. That will be getting represented. Right. Now here we haven't given any borders. That's what here it is going to be indicating that here. I haven't given any borders over here. That's what it is showing like as a separate here. Once you apply the borders, it will be showing one component inside, another component will show. Okay. Clear up to this one? Next. Next one. Lightning input components. What do you mean by input component here? What did you understand with this? Okay. Then how? Can you give me some example? Right. 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 Now, for example, here, as of now, what we did, we have prepared some component. In this component, what we did, we have represented some static content, fixed content we have represented over here. Now, we have specified that, okay, various labels here, like as employee code, employee name, current employer, designation, like that. These values, like as employee ID value, employee name, and the company name, designation, everything we have hard coded. We have given some fixed values. Instead of giving this kind of fixed values, how to pass these values at runtime? In order to pass some input to your component at runtime. This is our component, which is employee basic details component. In this component, I'm placing okay the various labels over here: employee code, employee name, current employer, current designation, current CTC, like that. For this one, I don't want to hard code these values. Whatever the values we have entered, these values I don't want to hard code over here. I don't want to hard code these values over here. These values I would like to pass dynamically at runtime. Okay, I want to pass these values dynamically at runtime. In that case, if you want to pass some values to the component at runtime, based on the input values, if you want to do some operations, then we can go with the help of Lightning input component. Lightning input is a built-in component in Salesforce in Lightning framework, which can be used to supply the input value to the component or application at runtime here. Now, like for example, when you go to the login screen, we are having two text boxes here. First one to enter the username, second one to enter the password here. What are the two text boxes are nothing but these are used to supply some input value at runtime to the application so that it will validate my credentials. It will decide whether I can access my application or not. So that we have placed two text boxes to enter username, to enter password. That means you are passing some input to the login screen. Based on that input value, based on the username and the password, it will validate your credentials. It will decide whether you can enter into the application or it will be showing some message invalid username or password. So we can pass some values by placing some text boxes. For example, when you go to some registration form, in that registration form, we are passing various values over there. We are passing some customer code also, customer name also, and then gender also, his date of birth also, his email ID, his phone number, his employee name. Like that here, we are entering some data upon creating a new registration. So related to the customer, if you want to create a new registration or if you want to create a new record, we need to pass some input values. So now in that case, how to pass these input values at runtime? I don't want to show this kind of hard-coded content. I want to pass some input values at runtime. Then how to pass? For that one, we are using the help of Lightning input component. By using this Lightning input component, we can able to pass different types of input values to the component at runtime. And based on those input values, we can perform certain operations here. We can perform certain operations and those operation results also we can represent. Like, for example, here, come to a small scenario. Assume that I'm designing a small application here, which is a small basic calculator. I'm designing a small basic calculator. So I would like to enter first number value here. For that one to enter the first number, I'm placing one text box. Second number text box over here, I'm passing second number value. And the result. To show the result, we are using one more text box. For example, here, we are having few button controls. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, like that. There are some buttons. Here I'm entering the value, first number some 4000, second number some 27. Once I click on this addition button, it will be representing the result 4027. That means what here, what are the input values we have entered in the text boxes, which are those input values I would like to collect, I want to perform certain operations, that operation result I would like to show in the text box. In this case, if you want to pass these values to the component at runtime, then we can go with the help of Lightning input. So Lightning input component is used to pass input values to the component or application dynamically at runtime. Based on those dynamic values, it will do the required operations. Those operation results will be getting visible on your component. So for that reason, we can go with the help of Lightning input component. Okay, by using this lightning input component, we can able to pass the values, and upon passing the value, we can indicate what are the various types of values we are going to enter. Whether this input component can be accessible only the normal numerical, only characters, alphanumerical values, date values, email ID values, URL values, phone number values, color pickers also. What kind of content it will accept, that we can decide. So for that reason here, we're indicating data type also. What type of data this particular component can access, that we can see. Now, observe this one here. This is a calculator application over here. Generally, this is called as a component. In that one, we have placed the three text boxes here, three button controls. Now, this is a text box. First text box also called as component. Second text box component. Third text box component. Buttons also components. This whole like okay, like a calculator also called as component here. Everything is component. This is the functionality. That's what I told you. In component-based framework, each functionality will be implemented in the form of components. Component is nothing but a feature which contains certain functionality inside this. Okay, understood the concept over here? Now, so now everything will be called as component. Text box component, button component, checkbox component, radio button component, pick list component. The whole screen also component over here. This is the functionality. Okay, clear? Now, so now in this case, let's see as part of this lightning input component, what are the various properties are available? Let's see one by one. It contains some set of properties, and what are the each and every property indicates. Let me explain that, and then how to use them, how to design the registration forms. We'll see with practical concepts. Now, make a note of this one. Now, lightning input component is used to supply the required input values to the component or application dynamically at runtime based on the requirement. Now, by using lightning input, we can represent the different visual appearance controls on the component. For example, text box, checkbox, pick list, date controls, color pickers, etc. Based on the input values supplied at runtime, we can perform the required operations on the component, and will represent the result, and will represent the results. Lightning input component contains a collection of built-in properties. Collection of built-in properties. Syntax I'm indicating lightning component. That means lightning input. Let's see the properties. Done with these points? Now, properties. Let's see what are the various properties are available for this lightning input component. Now let's see. What's first property is label property. To specify the label to be visible on the component. First property is label property. Second one, name property here. Now tell me what is the difference between this label and the name property? No. Right. Visible object, that means this is a static text to be visible on the screen. Okay. Like this label is nothing but like as your field label, which will visible only on the screen, only for visibility purpose we're representing. Like for example, whenever I'm designing this a login screen here, I'm placing two text boxes. One is for username, second one is for password, but I'm not giving any label over here. If I'm designing like this, how the people can understand in text box one what data we need to enter, in text box two what data we need to enter? People will get confused. So that we are giving some meaningful label also, like as enter username. Here I'm giving that label password. Now tell me, do we have any confusion now? No, it is indicating very clear indication over here. First text box is for username, second text box is for password. So that what label you would like to provide for the text box, we can indicate by using label property. This name property is used to specify a unique reference name, because we can place multiple text boxes also. In that case, how to recognize each and every text box to indicate that we are giving unique reference name? We need to provide the unique reference name by our own. Next one. Now after that here, we can specify the title property. Title property is used to specify the tooltip text message. So tooltip text message to be visible for this particular control, that we can indicate by using title property. Placeholder property. Basically, placeholder property is used to give some watermark inside the text box. Like for example, when you go to the text boxes here we are having a search box. Here we are having the watermark content is available like a search. In the text box, if we want to give some watermark content, then we are using the help of a property called as a placeholder to specify the watermark content to be visible in the text box. Type property. Basically, the type property is used to indicate what type of data this particular text box can accept. So now what type of data you have to enter inside this, that will be deciding by type property here. So now in this case here, you want to enter numerical, you want to enter string type, you want to enter email type or phone type or URL type or currency type, or what type of data you are going to accept in this particular control, that we can decide. To specify the data type of the content to be entered in the control. We are having the options like as a text. This is the default one. If you are not using type property, by default it is considering as text, which will accept alphanumerical values, everything like as normal text boxes. Now number, currency, phone, now URL, email, date, time, date time, color, file, checkbox, checkbox button, toggle, password. These are the various options we can enter. Toggle means what? It's like as a checkbox only here. We can able to enable, disable that option. Let me show you. For example, I'm going to the schema settings. Now, so how the toggle control look like? Let me show you. These are the toggle controls. Okay, we can enable some options here. We can disable some options. During the custom settings, we have enabled custom settings over here. We can enable, we can disable. This is called as a toggle control. Now, required. Required property is used to indicate what are the text box you are going to represent on the component. The text box value will be mandatory or not, to indicate that we are using required property. And then min property. Min property is used to indicate a number. So what is that number indicates? How many number of, okay, what is the least number will be acceptable in this control here? Okay. Now, what is the minimum value? When this will be acceptable? Whenever we are going to be giving the type equals to number, then it will accept what type of value? Numerical value here. Suppose I'm creating a field to enter the customer age. In that customer age, I want to accept minimum 20, maximum 80. This is my requirement here. Customer age should be between 20 to 80. So what is the minimum value you want to enter? 20. What is the maximum value you need to accept? 80. To indicate that we have these two properties, min property, max property. This will be applicable whenever we are giving this type of the text box equals to number, or currency, or a date, or a time, or a date type over here. In that case, it will be applicable here. So minimum value should be acceptable that we can specify here. To specify the least value will be acceptable in the component. This will be used. This will be used when the type as, that means input type, number, currency, date, time, date time. Eighth one, max property. To specify the highest value will be acceptable in the component. Next one, min length property. This property is used to indicate what is the minimum number of characters to be applicable inside this control that we can specify. For example, we are going to be giving a text box to enter first name. My requirement is first name should have minimum 4 characters, maximum 50 characters. In that case, if you want to accept some specific number of characters, then we can use the min length and max length. See, observe the difference here. Minimum is different, min length is different. Minimum we will be using whenever we are using the data type of the control as the number, currency, date, time, date time. Min length will be used upon using that data type as text. Only for text data type, we can use minimum length. That means what is the length of the content to be acceptable here? How many number of characters to be allowed that we can decide here by using min length. To specify the minimum number of characters to be allowed in the component. I'm giving that, okay, note point here, user for text type here. Like the similar way, max length. The maximum number of characters. And then we have few more properties are also available over here, like as a checked property, and then accept property. We are having format properties available here that is called as pattern property. We have few more properties are available. We'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll see some more properties of this lightning input component, and then how can we design our own registration form by using this lightning input component. We'll see practically. Then we'll see some more components like as button components over here, what type of buttons are available, how to use them, and then tab controls also over there, and then progress indicators, and then we'll enter into JavaScript concept. Once the designing part is done, then we'll enter into plain set business logic. Once it is done, then we will use Apex programming there. Clear? Now, do the practice on these features today. Tomorrow we'll see how to design our own visual appearance controls on the component. We'll see with practical. Okay. Thank you.